Hi, good afternoon everyone. I hope you're well. It is a beautiful sunny day again. I've again sent the family out for some fresh air, the essential hours exercise with kids and dogs. So I thought I'd hop on and have a chat to you today about my journey from going from employed to empowered. Now, that is the name of the programme, which I'm going to tell you lots more about tomorrow and officially launch it. But I thought I'll put it in context today, because when you see the launch and you see what I'm including in that training, you'll probably be wondering where on earth that's come from and how does it relate back to me and my experience. So I thought I'd spend just a few minutes today telling you a little bit more about me. It's always good to know who talks to you, and also just to put in context around what that training is going to include for you as well. So, welcome to any new members. If you're hopping on live, please say hello, give me a little wave so I know you're there, and any questions throughout, just drop them in. If I don't get to them during the live, I'll have another look back and I will answer them later on. If you're watching on the replay, again, tell me that, and the more people that comment, the more people that like, that means that the others in the group will also get notified that we're live and hopefully hop on. Okay, so where shall I start? So a little bit of context around my life and what I've done. So I went to university, I studied a business-focused degree, which included a placement year. So even before I'd finished uni, I'd already done a period of work and was able to then secure a permanent role with that company as soon as I'd finished my degree. So effectively, I sort of didn't leave them. I finished my degree and then straight away went back again. I spent 20 years in the corporate world. Now, in that, there were different roles. There were roles that I applied for. There were roles that I started and then they evolved in something else. They were all for relatively large organisations where training was a big thing, and I had the benefit of a lot of investment in me as a person, and obviously then to perform the role that I was being paid for within the business as well. So yes, there was training, and there was also a great culture of support and people around you, and if you needed something solving, there was normally somebody within the organisation that would be able to help you with that. So that was 20 years of my life. I had a couple of years off, fairly close together, when I had my two boys, and at the first point I had my oldest, and I was looking to go back. I thought, yeah, is this something I want to go back to? Do I want to go back to the same regime that I was in? And actually there wasn't too many other options for me at the time. So I did. I returned back to pretty much what I'd done before I left for maternity leave, and got quickly back into it and did enjoy it. But then quite quickly after that, found that we were expecting our second son, so then had another year off with him, which was a totally different experience for me, having two pretty close together and yeah, quite demanding. Obviously the first year is pretty hectic with a new baby, and also having a not quite 2-year-old as well it was a busy time. And I realised very quickly that they needed me and they needed mommy. Daddy was amazing, but actually there was some stuff that they only really wanted mommy for. But the end of my maternity leave came and I got to the point of returning back to work, which I did, and I found my groove again, and I guess I reconnected with what now being a career-focused mum was about, because it alters you, and it does mean that you have to change your focus on being available for your children as much as your work, and it is this perpetual balance between your time with them and the time with work and time with your loved ones generally, and actually trying to fit in as much as you can in your day. So I changed roles, I changed companies. I had an opportunity there where I was able to progress, which I loved, and I was able to manage a team of people who I could work with to develop them as well. I very quickly realised that that was what I really enjoyed doing, to impart the knowledge that I'd already got and help them to develop and help them move forward. So I looked to then move on again and increase the size of the team and the people that I was responsible for. But at that point, we were just about to transition my youngest into school, and he was very stressed about that process. He wasn't keen on leaving his nursery where he was happy, and that created quite a lot of stress within the family unit. And as it turned out, it was a great opportunity for me to actually just have some time out and be at home to settle him into school. So I did exactly that. And it's interesting, once you have some time at home, which obviously we're all really relating to at the moment, that if that's forced upon you, then it can feel like it does now quite restrictive, and you can feel like you want to push against that, and you feel that your freedom's been taken away. But I'd made those choices, and I decided that I wanted to centre myself at home, have some time out, reevaluate where I wanted to go. And actually that was very strangely liberating, because we'd agreed the finances so that I could do that, but actually there wasn't the pressure that I used to have. I used to travel quite a lot and stay away quite a lot, so actually being able to be with the children was a really refreshing, liberating feeling. But it came to the point where I'd done that, we settled him into school, and I was ready to start work again. And that's where I really hit a brick wall from my perspective, because in one, I guess from one perspective, I'd got the absolute desire to have the life we'd been used to have a nice home, to go on holidays, to have all the external stuff that comes with earning well and that standard of living. And those expectations were there as well. But then I'd also got this conflict of, but I want to be much more there for my children. I want to be able to go to parents' evenings without having to take holiday. I want to go to their afternoon shows and literally be the mum that can drop them off at the school gate and occasionally pick them up as well. And I just got this constant pull of the emotional side of the family and the children, and yet the desire to have the life, to feel satisfied in a role that I was performing, that I felt like I was giving back, and actually enjoyed working, because I did always enjoy work. So during that time I went for a few interviews, had quite a few conversations with different businesses around what was it I was looking to do, where could I use my skill set, and I always came away from them just thinking it's not quite clicked for me. It's not kind of set me alight. It's not got me excited, and it was really I guess a soul searching time for me. I had to really dig deep and think about, well, why not? That on paper looks like the perfect role that you would have pulled, snapped someone's hand off for, but now it wasn't, and there was something that had changed. And I quickly realised that the change was within me. I now wanted something else. I wanted to be able to deliver that help and that ability to allow others to move on in their lives, but yeah, I didn't want to do that for another organisation. And a friend of mine, a very close friend, knows me very well and had watched me go through this journey. Hey Monica, lovely to see you. She actually suggested coaching. Now I thought that when she first made the suggestion, I thought she's saying this because I might benefit from a coach myself. And at the time I didn't want to commit financially too much. I was still very much in am I going that way? Am I going that way? Didn't know what I wanted to do. But she said, no, I'm not talking about you getting yourself a coach. She said, I'm talking about you becoming a coach. She said, everything that you've described to me in terms of what you want to do in the role that you've described is actually that delivering via other people. It's helping them achieve their goals. It's facilitating them to move on in their own lives. She said, that's what a coach does. So at the time, I have to admit, I knew nothing about coaching. I'd obviously been coached, and I'd been a coach in terms of a manager in previous jobs, but in terms of a private coach, didn't know very much about it. So I spent a long time studying, reading, learning more, and actually using some skills that I'd had in qualifications from a while ago, and sort of did a refresher on those, and set up my coaching business. And it clicked really quickly for me, that I thought, yes, this is what I want to do. This is how I can get my message out there. And I opened up the business and thought, here we go. I'm open and everyone will come to me now because I know I can help them. I've got lots of skills, lots of experience, and I can help lots of people. And it didn't happen. It was just flat. It was just like a real anticlimax, because I'd worked really hard. I'd written lots behind the scenes, but no clients. And what I now retrospectively looking back on that time, what I realised I did was I got really busy in the business, and I got really busy building things and creating courses and programs and a material. I wrote a book. There was all sorts of stuff that I look back at now, and the content is amazing. But what I'd not done is things like this. I hadn't publicly opened my business enough. I hadn't taken the message out there, and I hadn't been listening to the potential people that I wanted to work with, and I hadn't been specific enough about that. So I had to reevaluate, and actually what I chose to do at that time was get help for myself. So I went and found a group of coaches that would both help me with the technical aspects of getting the business online, but also help me understand how to narrow and create a niche for myself that I felt was right for me. And that was brilliant. That was a really good, solid foundation for me to learn a lot of the basics and to automate some of the processes that sit behind the business. I still use lots of them now. So I then got a much more specific message to take to people, and that worked really well for me. And I enjoyed that. I worked with some amazing ladies who I saw transition from one position to another, which was just the most satisfying thing for me. But it was really only at the beginning of this year I really honed down, and I was doing some of my own training, and it was an example that somebody was drawing from, where they said, you can bring your previous experience through into this life. You don't have to start all over again if you're just setting yourself up as self-employed and running your own business. It's not about starting from zero. Use what you've already got. Use the skills that you were previously using, and find a way to help others using those skills. Now, my previous roles were all based on relationship management. So they were account management, they were sales roles, they were supportive roles, and then they were managerial roles. So I had to have a solid, sound relationship building strategy, which I didn't even know I'd got because it was subconscious, but it's there, and that was what I decided I needed to really tap into, because it's there naturally. It's not something I have to force. I don't worry about presenting, I don't worry about talking to strangers, so it made total sense that I again niched down to help people do exactly that and use those skills. And what I also wanted to share with people really passionately, and women particularly, is this element of getting your business online, because I found somebody eventually that helped me, but it was much more technical, and what I have now done is set up a business that helps people do what I was trying to do. So I've always tried to be, now in what I bring to the market and how I help others, is to be that voice of the person I wish I had found all those weeks, months, years ago. It's that person that can hold your hand and say, yeah, absolutely, that could work, but have you seen over here that this has worked for somebody, or that this might help, or actually from what you describe you're really passionate about that actually this might help you. And just stop that wasted time, that wasted money, effort, and most importantly, stop people giving up, because once you've got the passion, the idea, and enough oomph to get yourself going, most people think they're away and that's it. You're over the edge and you're off. But that's not true. It's when that initial enthusiasm starts to decrease and you suddenly end up with a little bit more of an uphill struggle. It's that sort of second curve that you need the help with, because lots of us can find huge enthusiasm. We're all excited about, yeah, it's something new, let's do that. We're away, and then it gets tough again, and that's when people give up. So that's the point at which you need somebody to guide you, to hold your hand, to show you that there's an alternative, and be a mirror to really kind of reflect your own thoughts back to you. So it's that person that I'm trying to be. So let's talk about that in the context of the programme then. So employed to empowered. So the reason that I've chosen that journey is because that's exactly the transition I take people on. So I'm not for a minute advocating that I'm selling something which is going to mean that you resign from your paid role or you leave your employment. That's not where I'm coming from. because actually you can maintain your employment. But actually it's that feeling of being empowered, because when you're employed, it's quite easy to feel as though the control's been taken away from you. You're told where to go, when to go, what to do when you get there, and in some cases even how to do it. So how can you feel as though you're empowered to make decisions, to have your freedom, when actually there's that restriction of that employment around you at all times? So I want to help to see where you can get that empowerment from. And actually, if that means having a business that you're going to set up and you're going to start to establish at the same time as you've got your employment, then absolutely, if you're able to manage your time in a way that you've got the two running parallel, then that can work really, really well for you. So I'm going to give you lots more details about the content of this tomorrow when we officially launch, and I'll tell you how to register. But the Employed to Empowered is really it's a reflection of the journey that I've been on. So going from having good roles in big organisations to then working for myself, being a self-starter, working alone, and all of the scary things that come alongside with being self-employed. It's about holding your hand to make that transition into that space and showing that actually you have already got the skills that you need to be able to do it. It's really about harnessing it in a way that you can channel your efforts into constructive action and not be distracted by, oh, I'm going to go and do that, or I'm going to go and build that, or oh, I'm going to go and... There are very few laser focused actions that you really need to take to have a successful business, but it's knowing what those are. And during the program I'm going to share some of the mistakes that I made, because I made some corking mistakes. I made mistakes that cost me dearly, both in time and money, and I can avoid those on your behalf by sharing them with you. So I hope that's given you a little bit more insight into me and where I've come from, and a little bit of a kind of peek into some more details that I'll share with you tomorrow around the programme. So Employed to Empowered is coming very soon. I'll be with you tomorrow to share lots and lots more details with you. If you've got any questions about what I've shared, or you're so keen you can't wait till tomorrow, then drop me a message and I'll make sure that we register you good and early so that you get all the details and all the updates. I'll be going live again tomorrow to tell you more about the details, and I look forward to seeing you then. Have a fabulous rest of the day. See you guys. Bye.